Hello everyone. Hello. He's home. He's home. He's home. It's time already. It is time already. Hello, tag your friends, tag your loved ones. If you know you have people in the diaspora, you have anyone in the diaspora, you don't know how they are even managing, kindly share this video with them, share this conversation with them. It's going to change lives, it's going to transform lives. That is what we believe here for Voice of Africans living in the diaspora. And with our guest sharing her story, trust me, they need to hear this. So I will give us some time to come in, then I will invite my guest to share her story quickly so that yeah. Okay. Okay, so let me officially open this conversation. My name is Uche Cynthia Onuorah, in case you are just invited. I am the brain behind the Voice of Africans living in the diaspora, and I want to quickly clear this off that we are not spiting any country. With the stories that will come up, we are not spiting any country. The motive behind this movement is to make sure that Africans living in the diaspora, and it's not about them doing it tomorrow, they have to start it today. Okay, and secondly, we are trying to make sure that we bring back unity in Africa. We have to start loving ourselves here at home. Charity begins at home. So we are trying to put things together to make sure that Africa will be a place where people will come in and, you know, and feel alive again. You understand? So this is it. So I have here with me already, I told you I'm having a very fantabulous guest. Her name is Chineyenwa Okoro Onu, and she's a Nigerian, but she's living in Ghana, and she's a social entrepreneur. She's an environmentalist, she's an enabler, and she's the founder of Waste or Create Hub here in Ghana. And apart from that, in 2014 she was quoted on CNN as one of the 12 brilliant African entrepreneurs under 22, and she has been featured on a lot of platforms, social media platforms like How We Made It in Africa, CCTV Africa, Al Jazeera, and so many others. If we start today, we won't finish. So let me add her so that she will quickly tell us everything. Share this conversation, don't keep it alone. Share this conversation, and if you have anyone that you need him or her to come on this show to share his or her experiences, I'm good to go. You understand? So I'm adding my guest. She will be joining us in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up. I think the network is bad, but she's coming. At least I'm adding her. So let's do some. Yay, she's here.
Hello.
You don't start.
I'm trying to find a perfect place to put my phone, so.
Oh, sorry.
But this one I look like. Okay. We're good now.
Chichi, welcome to the show. Welcome.
Thank you, Medasi.
Medasi is like, thank you here in Ghana. So, Chichi, how do you feel about Voice of Africans living in the diaspora? What are you expecting? I think you're for her.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Chineyenwa Okoro Onu. I am a social entrepreneur, an environmentalist, and an enabler. You know, when Uche sends me a message, it's like, hi, I want to have a show to talk to Africans in the diaspora. I'm like, I'm in Ghana, or is that one diaspora? And, and she's like, but you don't live in Nigeria. I mean, you're in another country, so that qualifies you as a diaspora. I said, okay. But I mean, majorly today, I think it's just about sharing the, how would I put it? The reason why sometimes would take you to a different place and how that place that you're going to be would be the key to your success, would be the massive turnaround. Like, I'll just say the reason why being at one particular place might not necessarily be what will take you higher or whatsoever, and how going to another place can literally transform your life, transform your dreams, change everything for you. And also, I mean, like you mentioned before I joined, I overheard you talking about the unity in Africa, right? Me being a Nigerian in Ghana for the past 10 years, lots of things I have learned, the fact of challenges, right? But just kind of like appreciating us as people, the culture, the learning curves of how we can do better and better. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much. So, Chichi, you are talking about dreams. Known you as a goal chaser. I've always known you as a goal chaser. People think, oh, Uche, that was why she changed her name. But I always don't tell them, I've not told anyone that you are the reason why I changed my name from Uche, Berry Cynthia on Facebook to my real names. Because I remember when I spoke to you the last time, I'm like, Chichi, how are you doing it? You are doing your business, you are selling, you are doing a lot of things out of that, and you are still composed. I was like, Chichi, it's not easy. You have to start from somewhere. Then after me, Chichi, what's the love of Facebook? And I said, how will that was when quickly I started changing my name and trying to be the change I seek, because that was what you were preaching at that moment, being the change you seek. And I've been looking at you, watching you, the way you are doing the thing. And I'm quick to ask, what is it about Ghana? Why Ghana? And what were
Well,
the things you faced?
it's a very interesting question, but I mean, I'll just go straight to it. So, why I came to Ghana? Of course, you know where we are from. Our legendary fatherland, Ghana, Nigeria. I mean, I would say that I wouldn't the country I am for silver or for gold. It's the best thing that has happened to me being a Nigerian. Being a Nigerian is a country I am proud of, is a country I am grateful to be born in spite of everything that is happening in that country. I'll trade Nigeria for anything. That one is just the cocoa. It's just the fact. But Ghana in search of education. The educational system is key. I mean, so many people know that for a fact. You know that when you finish school especially secondary school, you have to go and write jam. You write once, you write twice, you're collecting your 7,500 once, two, three, four, and it's not like you're not passing. You pass the jam and then you go for the aptitude test, and then you imagining more than 150,000 people trying to get into the same school you want to get into. And you know how it is. It is who has the upper hand that eventually gets in. So, I finished school, wrote jam once, twice, and all of that. Just didn't feel like it was working for me. It just was meeting a friend of mine. I mean, Seacrest, and I was like, see, look, I need to come. I need school. Then he was in Ghana, and it's like, look, I don't think Nigeria education system will work for me. I don't write jam. I don't tire. What's up? He's like, oh, he's in Ghana. He's Ghana. I should try Ghana. I'm like, Ghana, which kind Ghana? And then he was like, oh, try Ghana. Ghana, the process is simple. You can even do it online and all of that stuff. I was like, really? He said yes. I said, oh yeah, now. Then the problem started with going to tell my parents that I am going to come and school in Ghana. I realized that going to tell my mom or my dad that I was going to come and school in Ghana would have just become a whole new wahala. So I told Secrets, let's start the application process. How much was the registration fee? He told me. I tried to ask my mom, tell her for something else. Started the application process. The admission letter came. So when the admission letter came, he mailed it to me, and then I showed my mom, and then I was like, oh, I've gotten admission in Ghana. She's like, which Ghana? All these scam schools, my Ghana care. Ghana is far. I think I should go to Ghana. Ghana is far. When I told my they're like, there's 3,000 universities in Nigeria, if not more. That why Ghana, And I was like, well, I've wrote, I'm not getting admission and I can't stay at home another year. It just doesn't make sense. So my mom and my dad, I mean, I would forever be grateful to them for that opportunity, because this was me in another country. Money was not cheap. But my mom and my dad best everything they could do to get me to come to Ghana. I remember the first day I came to Ghana with my dad, like when I came to register and my dad was leaving me, he was like, you're going to be here, you don't have mother, you don't have father, you don't have sister, you don't have uncle, you don't know anybody. I was like, yes, I know. And it's a decision I want to take. First of all, the excitement of leaving Nigeria alone was good enough for the beginning. was good enough from the beginning, you see. So, but then, you know, after my father left, I was like, okay, gangan, it has happened. You know, I felt lonely. It was weird. I mean, before I started making friends and stuff, it was weird. There were lots of challenges, I'll be honest. First of all, you're in a country where culture is different. Although Ghana is an amazing country, they're friendly people, loving, welcoming. And even at that, I mean, even at that time, you know, it wasn't that challenging to adjust, because there was no really in Ghana. But there was just this conviction in my mind that, look, you have traveled all these miles to this country, right? Question is, what would you make out of it? Because one thing for sure is, look, I know many people who came to this Ghana just like I did, and I know many people had gone back worse than they came. They've gone back what to do with themselves, just whatever. And I'm like, look, this is a place for me to think about how I'm going to better myself. Most importantly, how I'm going to prove people back at home wrong, because some people did not believe I came to school in Ghana and they thought I came to do prostitution. I came to do whatever. So they didn't believe that, oh, I came to school.
That's it.
So when I came, activities, like I was just very much interested in not after school, go to the hostel and sleep, those kind of things. So I tried to look for activities I could join. So I joined some activities, the ones that I had interest in, I joined. The ones I didn't feel like it was for me, I left. And then I joined another one called Enactus. And I think that was where a lot of things kind of changed for me. From the beginning, I had already been someone who was very, I would say, ambitious, because my mom used to tell me that for my age, the kind of things I like to do is not for my age. You know, now they will be telling you, Anyagi, your eye is too big, Anyagi, too big. And you know, when she says that, that's like, if eye small, wait till it benefits you. When your eye big small, let your eyes be big small, so that at least some things can benefit you, you know. And I remember the first year it was very challenging, and then I got an opportunity to work with Enactus at the time, and then, you know, projects, community projects, education, advocacy. I would go for conferences, I would go for workshops, anyone that I could go for. I go somewhere free, somewhere paid. The ones that were paid, we cannot afford where we're, so we go for the free ones. And then we meet people, we learn. The internet also was helpful. Facebook, you see what people are posting, YouTube, inspiring yourself small. Because I'll be honest, I didn't really have people that I kind of like looked up to, you know, in quotes. This is somebody I was looking out from growing up. There wasn't really much industrious. She's someone that I kind of like admire the kind of zeal she had, because she's also a woman in Africa. Her dad also. So they were more like my role in the sense of, look, I wanted to be my parents. I wanted to achieve more than my father has ever achieved, my mother has ever achieved. So I wanted something different. I wanted that when I go back, those who thought I came to Ghana prostitution and other things would be disappointed. They would see that, look, and whatever is there. So they will be inspired, more like inspired by my achievement, by the things that I've been able to achieve, right? So I came and then I did this organization and I started following up. You know, I keep telling people that look, nobody can make you do the things you don't want to do. Let's be honest, because I mean, when I came out, I had friends who go party, out, who chill. You know, I knew that look, the chilling and all of those things is necessary, it's part of the phase. I knew what I wanted to achieve at the end of the day. So even though I would hang out and I still knew what I wanted, I would use it as a networking opportunity for me, as a learning curve to meet new people and all of that. So when I joined I mean, under 1 year, I was nominated as the president of the club. I was like, and you know, I started applying for fellowships, competitions. I had a job with UNESCO at the time. I would work with them, go for field trips, go for that. And you know, people will be wondering every time. I mean, I wouldn't lie, I missed school because you know, you had to match up being in school, working, you know, mitigating, helping. The school fees was in dollars. I'm talking dollars. It was a lot. And sometimes when they come up with some things, I don't even know how to carry my mouth and go and tell my mom and say, Mommy, they say we should pay this extra. She just tell me, Chineyenwa, we are already trying to see how this works. Burunka, come on. So I needed to support my parents so that, you know, because I knew it was for my own benefits. You know how that people feel like, oh, because you send the person to school, you are doing it to go and for your parents. You are doing it for yourself. Because I've never seen anybody in this life that, yes, that they put sugar in their mouth and will say, no, it is sweet because they put the sugar. It is sweet for you, not for anybody else. So I really wanted something that was different. I knew I had this conviction in my heart that I wanted something different. I didn't know how, but I was just like following what I saw people doing, learning from them. The ones I knew that were not good for me, I took a step back. Some said that was not good for me. I tried it didn't work, so I left, you know. So with time, I realized that education was the best gift anyone could have given to me and acquire. I say it today to tomorrow. Trust me, when you're not educated, your mindset is very different. Some people are educated, quite all right, but their mindsets you can't explain. Education is not about going to school and getting degree and getting PhD. Education is understanding life. Education is having common sense, using your own common sense to merge all those big books that they've taught you. Look, there is a shift in the world, especially when you understand things, when you're educated, when you seek knowledge. I think, okay, let me not use education. Let me say knowledge. Because knowledge changes a lot of things that you know. Knowledge gives you a different mindset and gives you a different perspective. You get my point?
Yeah.
So I realized that I needed to shape my mindset. I needed to be knowledgeable in certain areas, be knowledgeable in the things of life, be knowledgeable in where the world is going. Because look at how technology disrupted a lot of things. Then, and 9 and 2010, a lot of people still didn't get. For most of us that were Facebook was just to snap a picture and post and put caption, and that was it.
Caption.
Nobody knew. But then, back then, technology was already helping a lot of people to do different things, but we didn't know. So we came with the last boss. We came with the last boss of people. Yes, it's true. You know, so I keep telling people that look, I am where I am today not because I knew things from the beginning. I learned from the process. And process is very much important. Don't beat yourself up when it feels like, oh, I am so and so age. I'm in this part of my life. Nothing is going to better for life. You can pick up wherever you are. There were so many people that I met in my journey in this country that I least expected, you know, and they've tried things. So that's how I found myself in this country. Went to school, came out of school, work, you know, and then decided to start up my own thing. And yeah,
okay. So Chichi, before we will go into that, you know, soup now, you see, with what you just said, with all you've said, it clearly shows that some of the responsibilities you are handling them, or most of the responsibilities you are handling them, and that you are not from here, and there's this perception from home that if you are coming to Ghana or you are staying alone, it might be prostitution. So how were you able to juggle these experiences? How were you able to manage it and still say, no, this is what I want for myself? What was that thing for you?
It was it was an internal demon I had to fight. You understand? It was an internal demon I had to fight. And I'm saying this for the first time because, I mean, this is like kind of like the first time I'm having the opportunity to share my experience in Ghana and all. It was an internal demon I had to fight because when you are here, nobody come home at 7 o'clock, come home at 10. No, you can do whatever you want. It takes someone who has a different mindset and consciousness to say, hey, until 7 o'clock, you have to go home, you have to read, you have to pass, you have to. It's not something that they teach you in school. No.
Yeah.
It is something that you have to have your own self-conviction. See, it is not an easy process, I'll be honest. There were times where I had lapses where, I wouldn't do the things I was doing because I wanted to be better. I just had this conviction. I know where I'm coming from. I know the sacrifices my mom, my dad, my parents, my siblings, and all they had to sacrifice for me to have a better education. So I knew that I needed to do something. I needed to be so that they could feel that I appreciated that sacrifice. Yeah. And if honestly, like I say that sometimes my mom will call me, she's like, somebody called her that they saw a post of me traveling here and I was on TV and I was this, that somebody that she, because I'm excited because I see the joy in her voice. I see the happiness. I might not be able to sign a check of $1 million for her. I might not be able to give her 10 naira or 15 naira. But that joy of seeing that I'm bettering myself, it gives her so much hope, and it will help her live longer. So it was a very challenging process, I'll be honest, because being in a country that is not yours, there were other challenges that come with that. Number one, there's a perception of Nigerians in general. The bad eggs have spoiled, or has one beans have spoiled the rest. So there's a stereotype about being in a country. Is either you are doing fraud or you are scamming people, one thing or the other. I mean, even doing, if I were to submit a proposal as a Nigerian and a Ghanaian or someone else were going to submit a proposal, they will screen me times more than they will screen the normal person. Exactly. Because of the stereotype. So because of the stereotype. So I know what I wanted, but to work extra hard in the terms of be conscious. When I knew that I was not going the right way, I quickly redirect my footsteps, because I knew that one way or the other, it will come back to bite me. So I had to make sure that, look, I do what I have to do. I'm conscious of myself, conscious of the kind of things I do. I'm conscious of the kind of people I hang out with, and make sure of this. Chineyenwa is part of that, because there is no way you can change that stigma. There is no way you can change that. So it was a lot of self-fighting, wanting to know what is right and wrong. I decided to stick with what is right. It's not easy, because the wrong part is very juicy. Like the bad things will be calling you with open arms. So you then have to decide how you want to do it. And trust me, the human mind, the human mind is something that, it's funny. Some people say it is the angel of darkness and angel of light, and the consciousness of lies, where you always know what is good, but you still want to do the bad thing. So imagine knowing what is good and still good. You should not conviction to do that. And that was something I had to fight with. I had was people. I had friends that were always by me. You understand? I have friends that have become country. It's amazing. People that I could call at any point and say, look, I don't understand what's happening with my head. Maybe something bothering me. Can you guys talk me out of this? And it's very important, because If you don't have those support systems, you end up going back to things that you don't want to. Your mind will start thinking, especially in the days that things will not go well, your mind will start thinking, okay, should I consider been doing this, maybe by now my life would have been better. So it takes a lot of self-control, conviction, and support system. Support system is very, very much important. Support system.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, because that is just the case. There's no difference with, even with those that I've interviewed before, there's no difference with what you just said and what they have all said. But there's something here. You know, you are the founder. So amazing. You are giving us another dimension of how to do things. When I first saw it, I was like, you know, mommy, see, she did something. Oh, look at it. Mommy was like, she knew how far the journey was going to go. You understand? So I wanted to know, how come you came about waste of weight? Why not just any other thing? Why waste? What happened that you went in for waste of weight? What is it about?
Okay, so is 360 innovation space that is focused on environmental sustainability, on upcycling, recycling, renewable energy, but generally just looking at how people can be innovative and creative to solve environmental problems. Back at home, it's rain. When it rains heavily, the erosion, that's where we'll go and start swimming. It becomes our swimming pool. We'll be floating plastic, floating things. It's like the happiest day whenever it rains. We'll go and stay inside the water, remove our clothes, and be jumping up and down. Even when our parents tell us, come inside, oh, you fall sick for yeah. That's where we want to be. And when I came to the project we did when I was working with UNESCO and Enactus at the time, I realized that the environmental project, which is waste, sanitation, and what have you, um, was important because in Africa, like in this Africa, the sanitation problems is something. Like it is something from waste management to, even when you talk about sanitation, we are not even talking about the toilet issue. Most of the in our continent don't have toilets, especially those from the rural community. So you realize people should go to the toilet with like excrete on the rubber bag and fling it. If you are not careful, if you are passing to meet you somewhere, people were getting cholera. People didn't know how to take care of their
Yeah.
environment and their surrounding and all. And it's funny because my mom used to tell me back in the days how our great grandparents, used to take care of them every day. They'll gather people in the village, they'll clean, make sure everywhere is clean. So I'll be asking myself, where did we learn these bad habits from, not taking care of our environment and all of that?
Right.
So the project then was teach people hygiene, how to wash, how to take care of their environment and all of that. So then we were doing it as more like advocacy, right? People and people. So I realized that, look, when we have this cleanup, at the end of the day, the waste is there, right? It will go back to where? The land. So whether you clean it or you don't clean it, it will end up somewhere. So the question was, how are we going to not eradicate waste completely? Because, currently the world makes more than 2.4 billion tons of waste every year. Now, the statistics is, if they are going to put that 2.4 billion tons in a truck, it will go around 4 times. So imagine all the waste you have ever thrown away coming back to you as a person. You don't have anywhere, everybody has their own share, so you don't have anywhere to go and hide it. What will you be forced to? Wouldn't you think of an innovative ways at which you would exactly? So we started thinking, and the team at that time, we brainstormed and we thought of, okay, how about we turn this waste to mosaics, right? So you turn them into arts. At that time, it was a school project, You turn them into arts where it can inspire people to, recycle. You can use quotes, if not to inspire people. So we started doing it. Then it was for a competition. At the time, we applied for a few, because of course funding is also important. If you want to do recycling, it's not a cheap area to go in, because you're going to have to pay for manpower, you're going to have to pay for trucks, So that entire process was tedious, especially for us at the time. So what we decided to do was to start looking at other organizations that we can partner with, okay, so that we can have the money and resources we have to continue to do the things that we did. So after we did that, we won the competition, we got some resources and stuff. That was for the first year of the project. We had some money, and it was going very, very well. So then my Radford at that time expired. So someone else had to take over. But after I left school, I said, look, this project is a very good project. I mean, really. The environmental problem is not a problem for just Uche or Chineyenwa. It's a project of every other person in the world. So how do I ensure that this work that I've started would continue? How do I other people will be inspired by this? Even though I came to Ghana, I studied, I'm a HR professional, there's nothing concerning what I'm doing and what I came to study. There's no connection, like no connection. So sometimes my mom will call me, she's like, Kedun certificate, Gikwan, like, where's the certificate? I'm like, it's cooling, it's chilling. It's chilling. So then she'll jokingly say, if it is baller work I wanted to do since, why did I let them to spend money to put me in school? You see, exactly. She's like, oh, why did I let them to spend money? But you see, this was an area that a lot of people, imagine telling a young person to leave school and come and do waste, collect waste or whatever. And they tell you, why do I look like Babambola in your head? Like, what is that? They won't even answer you. But that is a huge niche of opportunity for especially young people. I keep saying, I am proud to be associated with the environment. I am proud to be associated with shit, anything, because it's the opportunity that's taking me to where I am today. I remember the first time I sat on a plane outside of Africa. It was because I decided to continue to what? Pick baller, transform baller. It's like moving waste to treasure. You get?
Yeah.
Sometimes my mom, they do that pure water. But that pure water thing has been my source of livelihood for the past 5 years, because when I got out of school, got a job, I worked with different institutions from oil and gas to consultancy and all. I experienced my of being in the corporate world. I'm not saying that when you get out of school, go and start something. No. Sometimes you need to learn, and the learning curve for you is to work so that you get experience. Because without experience, you would not know whether you are doing the right thing or the wrong thing. You understand? Yeah. So I got with some people, I learned, but then every time people would call me, people would reach out to me, what's happening with your project? Are you no longer doing the project? I'm like, oh, Charlie, Sikao, there's no money, so I've gone to get a corporate job so that I can get money and push this and push this one, because it was very important. But then I realized, even as working for other people, I was not as committed. I wanted to go back to continue to do it, because it was something something I grew to love. It was something I had passion for. The joy of seeing people clean, the joy of seeing people work, the joy of educating people, the joy of having people look at waste as treasure. I mean, I remember some time ago we did an exhibition, and the joy on people's face, like the surprise, like, wow, is this possible?
Wow.
So that joy is why I continue to be in that space. You get me? So that was how Waste or Quit was founded. Currently
Hello. Hello. What's going on? Hello. Okay. I don't know
Hi,
what
I think the net
my
went
network.
off.
Yeah, my network went off. So sorry about that. So
That's
sorry.
okay.
So,
That's okay.
Chichi, so you were saying something about that was how you went into Waste or Create Hub to
Yeah.
clean our environment and make people appreciate their death and all that.
Exactly. So we wanted to create something that would inspire people to want to do better for the environment. Because trust me, look at you and I, all the goals and objectives that we have in life, all the millions and billions we want to make, the the way we want people to see us as role models, the way we want to enable others, the way we want to succeed in life. Imagine there's an earthquake today, or from nowhere, all this waste that we've been throwing away get angry to come back and swallow us. Where are we going to? Where, I mean, look at that. Even the person in the highest of skyscrapers in Burj Khalifa in Dubai will be affected. So we need to consider environment, we need to consider climate change. We need to understand that, look, the one thing that holds us all as humans is the environment. All our achievements, all our goals, those interested in politics and whatever. If you don't have a clean air to breathe, will you be able to survive? Look at, for example, coronavirus. Look at how coronavirus put the whole world on standstill. That is how climate change would affect us if we don't start thinking around it. Because look at what happened with, I mean, things people could not imagine. Banks were closed, churches were, I know some people, if they don't go to church one day, they will want to hang themselves. But they couldn't go to church for 3 months. You could not do anything. But why? Because of a pandemic that you have no control over. That is the same way the environment is important. I'm sure if they had told anybody that in 2020 you'll be wearing face masks, you can't breathe walking around, I'm sure the person will be like, Biko, carry your prophecy and go. But hey, that's what's happening today.
Today,
Coronavirus has changed the world.
exactly.
Coronavirus has changed the way we do things. People are
We do
working from
things.
home. Some offices,
We're
I
working
mean,
from
you
home.
see, I remember one of the webinar sessions I had, and I was telling the guy, I was like, you see, some offices, if you can't come to work every day, the day you miss work for one day, you'll be sanctioned. Like, but now people are forced to work from home. I'm sure some people will never believe that they could do their work from home,
From
but they're
home.
doing it. Exactly. That is how narratives change. That's how the world is changing. And if we're not careful, a lot more other tragedies or issues like this will come up if we don't act. And the environment is one of the most important components of the human existence. So we need to start thinking about it. And this is why I'm very much passionate about Waste to Create and what we do here. Because the sensitization is not just about creating awareness to clean up and make things from waste. No, the sensitization is thinking about how we can be innovative to solve some of the toughest problems. Like, for example, how can technology help with flooding issues? For example, how can technology enable others to think about how they can find alternatives for maybe plastic? How can we think about how we can modernize the way we do things? How can we look at cars? I mean, look at what Elon cars that are what sustainable and green. I'm sure in years to come, nobody would have believed that. So environmental sustainability is not just about waste management or whatsoever. It goes as far as thinking about our daily lives, the kind of things we do. Leaving your fan on when you don't need it, leaving your lights on when you don't need it, driving your car when you are supposed to be walking. all of those other little things that people need to do. People need education. So people don't even know how it affects them. Even the food you throw away, you don't know how it affects you. Even your toilet that you use, you don't know where your excrete ends up. So it's a conscious education, it's a conscious system, and that's what we are trying to bring to fore. Get people to learn, get people to
All right.
educate themselves, get people to see how
All
they
right.
can better themselves, get people to see how they can play an important role. Because trust me, the green economy is a huge market and it's largely unmet. I mean, in Europe and in other parts of the world, at least, they're thinking about sustainability, solar, climate action, all of that. But in Africa, it's like when you talk about environment, you're talking about an alien where somewhere. The only care about maybe the only day they talk about the environment is the day maybe heavy rainfall and water flood their house. Then they'll come out and show government to.
Okay, Chichi, you see this because of time
Sure,
and
sure.
most of the things that are coming up. I think my battery. I want to know. You see, what Voice of Africans in the Diaspora is mostly about is for the human race, especially Africans in the diaspora and Africa as a continent. So we have a lot of people going through a lot of things in the diaspora. So as you are someone that inspires with your work, with everything you are doing, you are an inspiration to a lot of people, to me especially. So what advice do you have for Africans living in the diaspora? Just a quick one. Advice you have for them.
The advice I have to Africans, okay, say African youth, is for us to get a skill. Get a skill in the sense of learn something. Go and find education in any way, form, or how. Cooking is a skill. Trust me, cleaning is a skill. Learning a new skill does not necessarily have to be you getting a doctorate degree in it. It's learning how to do it and learning how to do it well. Conversation is a skill. Having to hold conversation. Negotiation is a skill. Knowing how to write is a skill. Knowing how to sell yourself is a skill. Knowing how to sell your business is a skill. Knowing how to pitch an idea is a skill. So we need to go and enable ourselves, especially as Africans, whether in the diaspora or even back at home. Because African youth is the next generation of workforce. The question I keep
Exactly.
beating myself over every day is, who are the people that will drive this change? Are we ready? If tomorrow they bring all of the enabling system, enabling environment, we have enough money, we have good government, we have everything, at the end of the
Who are the
day,
people?
are we prepared? Exactly. Because change is inevitable. You'll be surprised. Our politicians that they think that they cannot change, one day Holy Spirit might touch them and then they will
Touch them.
change. But then by the time they
Exactly.
change, are we as people, are
Are
we
we
changing?
changed?
Are
Are
we
we prepared?
preparing our mindsets? Look at what's happening, the whole Black Lives Matters campaign. I keep
Yeah.
saying that Black people, we need to first of all love ourselves before others can show us love.
We should do
We
it.
don't
Charity
love
begins at
ourselves as
home.
people. Exactly. We don't love ourselves as people. Even tribalism, tomorrow
Exactly.
till next
Happens
tomorrow.
again.
Onya Hausa, Onya Igbo. There is still lots of education that needs to happen amongst ourselves. So before we
Exactly.
want to seek validation from others, let us validate ourselves.
Yes, yes.
I want to believe that tomorrow, Chineyenwa Okoro Onu, my company will be what? The toppest company in the world, however, whichever. Right?
Amen.
But before I get there, I need to start building my skills. I need to start building my organizational structure. I need to start practicing some sort of like some ethical values, right? I need to know what is wrong or right. I need to follow procedure, pay my tax, do the right things. So if
Do the
we
right
don't,
thing.
as people, validate our own selves, how do we expect others to validate
Others
us?
will do that
So
for
the
us.
only
Thank
advice I
you.
can give our people is, let's look at the things that we want for ourselves and start doing
And
it
then,
now before
exactly.
creating expectation. Because the challenge African young people have is we have a sense of entitlement.